Welcome to 15 with Christine. My client, Trent Simmons, President and CEO of Top Hat Chimney Sweeps, Alabama, is our special guest today. So let's get started. On 15 with Christine, we talk about all things business growth. But before we get started, I want to let you know where you can find the broadcast. I'll come to you live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and you won't miss an episode. You know, my goal with 15 with Christine is to introduce you to people who can help you grow your business and help you grow your career. And I'm excited today to talk with Trent Simmons, President and CEO of Top Hat Chimney Sweeps, Alabama, about how Trent has pursued growing his business over the past 2 years. And I've had the privilege of working alongside him in that process. Welcome, Trent. So glad you're here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, Trent, you know, as I was looking at the date today in June, and I was thinking back to when I first started emailing back and forth with you and as well as with Jeff, it's just about 2 years to today. Not sure if you remember the details, but I think you guys were, as a family, at the beach on vacation. And I got to get a glimpse of your style and how you communicate. And then a glimpse of Jeff, who is your dad and the founder of the company, but you have run it for the past 5 years, right?
Yes.
Well, when I first started emailing with Jeff, he sent a message back to me and said, "Hey, sorry you haven't heard from me yet. We're at the beach having fun." And then you know what I heard from you? I think it was even later that day. I had sent a survey that kind of sets the stage for our initial conversation, and you had filled out the entire thing and sent it back to me and kind of gave me some steps of what we needed to do next. So in that brief interaction, I started to get a sense of how you like to communicate and how you are different from Jeff.
Yes.
But I'd like to ask you, back 2 years ago, where were you in the planning process? You know, what brought you to the point where you realized, you know what, I'm ready to scale this business and it makes sense for us to look at bringing in someone to work alongside us?
I wish I could say I had enough forethought to actually plan that out. I would say it was more by necessity.
Yes.
We were really looking for someone to help our team with sales and customer client interaction.
Yes.
You know, and just we're very big on education. So just constantly trying to make sure our entire team is getting better. And thankfully, it blossomed into what it is now, which there is some foresight, and we can forecast and plan now much better because of you and your help with us. So,
well, it has been a pleasure for me to work with you and your team over the past 2 years. But if we go back to the beginning, you know, Trent, as we went through the process, I still remember talking with you in your office. We were there in your upstairs conference room, hammering out the initial agreement that we were working on. And I can't remember the exact words, but I believe you said something to the effect of, you know, you hadn't invested in professional help like this before. You know, and I got the sense that it was a big leap for you to make that leap to invest in help. How would you describe making that leap, and how would you describe how it's paid off for you?
There are different places in the growth of a business where it's usually a decision like we had to make there, that's kind of financially, it's something you've never really done.
Right.
Organizationally, it's something you've never really done. But usually those are the decisions that have exponential impact. And I would definitely say that this was one of those. It's never an easy decision, but I'm very blessed to have business partners that are very wise, and being in an industry where there are a lot of people that also like to share,
Yes.
and have a lot of wisdom in there as well. So I got some good information from people around me, and we pulled the trigger.
Well, I'm so glad you did, Trent. Because can I ask you, for other business owners who are weighing, they've built a successful business, they are looking at what is it going to take to really scale and grow to the next level. Is there any advice you would give them as they're looking at working with someone, whether it's me or not, but with someone where they're investing in a monthly retainer relationship based on driving long-term growth, and it's just a scary decision? Do you have any advice on how to weigh those decisions or how to take that risk?
Just do it. I mean, any relationship in your business where you can have some accountability and you can find someone that is different than you,
Yes.
that can fill the gaps or voids per se, in the areas that you need them to be filled. So it's something that you just have to, you don't know if you don't try. So the worst thing in business that I think you can do is nothing. So, it's just insanity to think that things are going to get better if you don't make any changes or you don't make any large commitments or growth or whatever that might be.
Yes. And when it comes to commitments, Trent, you made the commitment of course it's a financial commitment, but it's also a time commitment and a willingness to commit to change. And from the very beginning, you were a part of your entire team learning the Sandler methodology. And as as the one working with you, I can say that was very instrumental in driving change with your group. What did you see from your perspective, even in that first 6 months that we were working together, because you were a part of all of it?
I quickly started practicing the Sandler way in my personal life. So that was very beneficial. And, now it's a joke because we might, as a family, we might be having a discussion or a debate or something. And then somebody, a decision gets made and then they realize, wait, I just got Sandlered. Yes, it's all about asking the right questions.
Well, Trent, you exemplified what I need from a CEO and president when I'm working with the team, because you were engaged from the very beginning. Because, I get the privilege of working with your team. Sometimes it's once a week, sometimes it's a couple of times a month, based on how I'm working with your team. But, your team's with you day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
And because of your commitment to really lead by example, I think that's one reason why you have seen success. Once we were working together, and I don't remember exactly the timeline, whether it was 6 months or 7 or 8 months, we expanded the agreement for me to help you start hiring and onboarding your team.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at the pictures behind you, a number of the people there on your wall of flame have come onto the Top Hat team because of the new processes we put in place. How would you describe the change in the hiring and the onboarding process over the past 18 months?
Night and day. Plus, I'm not doing it night and day.
Now let's talk a little bit more about that. 2 years ago, what were you doing when it was time to hire someone new on the team?
I was laying in bed sifting through Indeed and ZipRecruiter or whatever else it was, searching for and filtering candidates. And that's, I want to grow the business, but
Yes.
I don't want it to happen at the expense of my family,
Right.
or time with my family.
Right.
That's very important. And for the past couple of years, I was losing some of that time. So
Yes.
it was very important for me to step away from that aspect and come up with a process.
Yes.
You've really helped us develop a really good process that to this day is still changing. And I expect it will continue to change, but
Yes.
it's pretty, I'm biased, but I think it's pretty impressive.
We've brought on 3 new salespeople within the past 6 months. When you look at ramping up these new guys on the team, how has it changed as far as how quickly they've been able to contribute to the bottom line from someone that you hired, say, 2 years ago?
Okay, 2 years ago, it would take someone about 2 years
Okay.
for them to really be what we call a producer.
Yes.
And this time around, we're at about 90 business days, which is pretty impressive. So, we don't let anybody, like I said, we're real big on education.
Yes.
Nobody goes out unless they're certified. And they basically have to have 3 certifications before they're in their own van doing their own thing. And all of that happens in about 30 days, 90 days, which is probably the fastest I know of in the country in my industry.
So that difference between a 2-year ramp up and a 90-day ramp up, what does that mean for you when it comes to planning to grow the business?
Well, it means I can grow at a faster rate.
Mhm.
It means we're saving probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's just, it's good for the team members.
Yes.
They get to experience growth at a much faster rate. And that is exciting.
Mhm. So Trent, how would you characterize the return on investment so far of working with me?
Exactly what it needs to be.
Yes.
Well, I would have to go out on a limb and say it's probably our biggest ROI of the things that we do between marketing and stuff like that. It's just anything that involves your people.
Yes.
Is huge.
Mm-hmm. And has it taken some time to accomplish that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And have there been some bumps along the way?
Of course.
Yes.
And, majority of people don't like change.
Yes.
And, I'm going to say they hate it. I don't think they hate it, but one of my mottos is change or die. So
yes.
Just get used to it around here. But we try to make it fun. We try to, laugh about it and help each other. And I think our culture is really, really good.
Yes. Well, Trent, I would like to have your 3 new salespeople on for one of our future episodes of 15 with Christine to talk about their ramp up process, how they're meeting their personal goals, and also talk about the culture that you have intentionally developed at Top Hat Chimney Sweeps. Because if you're listening and you're a business owner, if you're thinking, what kind of process did Top Hat Chimney Sweeps, what kind of process did Trent Simmons start with Christine? Feel free to reach out to me. I'd be glad to share it with you. But if you know someone in the Auburn area who is looking to work with a company that treats people like family, that invests in their team and provides growth opportunities for the long run, definitely take a look at the Top Hat Chimney Sweeps website. Take a look at their open positions, because we are actively looking to bring more great people onto the top team at Top Hat Chimney Sweeps to help Trent grow and serve more homeowners. So thanks everyone for listening and watching today. Trent, thank you for joining in. We'll definitely continue the conversation with your team. And we'll be back in 2 more weeks with another episode of 15 with Christine. Until next time.